Yeah, so we got married in July 23rd, 2016, and we were hoping that we'd get pregnant. And sure enough, 1 month later, we were pregnant. I loved being pregnant.
She was beautiful, pregnant, poised. She's so healthy, is so fit, and takes such good care of her body and her spirit. That she was a tremendous pregnant mom.
There was no signs of any challenges the whole way through. And I labored for about 30 plus hours at home. The doulas and myself and my husband went to the hospital. I kept trying to push, but his vitals were dropping substantially. And after about 40 hours on Friday morning, it was time to do an emergency C-section. And somehow they magically got him out, but he was blue. He had a subgaleal hematoma. They didn't know if he was going to make it. Oh, it was so hard. I couldn't lose my little guy. Grayson was in the pediatric ICU. Every day, he just kept getting better. And by, I think, the third day, he was able to sleep in our room that night. And the fourth day, we came home with him. It was this healing, beautiful time after what felt like a really traumatic event. Just about 6 weeks after giving birth to Gray, I went for a hike. And honestly, I felt great. I had some level of cramping, but I knew I just had a baby, so everything was, you don't really know what your body's like because you kind of just went through a tornado. I had also gone to the doctor that day. She gave me an antibiotic, and we hiked 6 miles that day. I continued to have some level of light stomach cramping that night, but didn't think too much of it. I woke up and I had a really incredibly bad stomach pain. And I thought with this antibiotic that it must be some sort of allergic reaction to it. The stomach pain got worse. At one point, I then go to the bathroom, and then I start vomiting and diarrhea. I thought what had happened is I had started my period because I started bleeding. And I remember laying on the floor because I was so hot. So it was this combination between super intense, unbelievable pain and deep, unknown lethargy where I just couldn't even move.
That she said, this hurts more than when I was laboring Gray. And I was like, oh, the stakes are way up.
And we put our 6-week-old Gray in the back seat. And I just remember looking at him. I said, you need to go fast. Run every red light, go on the side of the road, go.
I was flying down the highway, passing cars where I shouldn't have been.
Immediately upon entering the emergency room, they took my blood. And my heart rate was through the roof, but my blood pressure was 50 over teens.
At that point, starting to stab EpiPens into Amanda's legs with the thought it might be an allergic problem. She was blue-purple at that time.
Nothing was working. Everything was flatlining. They didn't know what was going on. Within minutes, they put a central line catheter into my heart. They recognized that something was attacking everything in my body, not knowing what. And they cut open my neck, and they put 10 different antibiotics into my heart and just said, we hope that something works because we don't know what's going on. By the next day, they recognized I was in advanced septic shock. I had a group A strep blood infection, and penicillin was the thing that saved me. The doctor came in and he said, you were on the 1 yard line. I'm like, the 1 yard line of what? And he's like, you were on the 1 yard line of not being here today. It was so fast how it hit me. I mean, it literally went from 2 a.m. stomach cramps to being in the emergency room with my heart stopping and my organs shutting down in 10 hours. That's it. And I had never heard of sepsis before. No one in my family had ever heard of it before. I'm so fortunate. I have all my limbs. I have all my health back. I have my beautiful family. I'm so lucky to be here today. If my husband, Brian, hadn't driven like he did to the hospital, I wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead. On the physical side, I came right back. On the emotional side, it was a much different story. To go from a place in which I've always been so healthy and to then recognize that in the span of 24 hours, you can go to near death, it shifts everything of your being. So I had a lot of PTSD for a while.
That just now, years later, has finally started to dissipate to a point where she feels free from that near-death journey.
The takeaway is, one is deeply understand the signs of sepsis. To have people advocating on my behalf was critical, I think, to my survival. after you have a baby, your whole body's so foreign. That's what's so hard about maternal sepsis, I think, is that you never know. But I would just tell anyone, if anything feels off, just go to the hospital. Just do it and say you might have sepsis. If you now know what sepsis is and you have any of those symptoms, go.